Hi, in this video we're going to discuss how to read a tape measure. I've got two different types of tape measures on the screen. The first one is a standard tape measure like you'd use in construction for measuring fairly short distances. The other one I have is a longer one. It's more flexible and it can be used for measuring really long distances, but also measuring curved things like columns or like a person's body. A seamstress might use this type of a tape, this second type of a tape measure. So we're going to look at each because they're set up a little differently, but they use the same basic principle. We'll start with the top one that's used for construction, and then we'll zoom in on it more so you can really see the inch real well on what it's doing, and then we'll explain the same thing with the bottom one. All right, so on a tape measure, each inch has a line going from one side of the tape measure to the other edge going so that you can tell where each inch ends. Then there's other size lines that are for half inch, quarter inches, 8 inches, 1/8 of an inch, and 1/16 of an inch. And so it makes it really easy for someone to visually see what's going on with each of those lines. But if you've never used a tape measure or don't have a basic understanding of math, you might have some challenges. In the next slide, we'll zoom into an inch to help you understand more what each of those lines are. All right, so I have basically duplicated the lines you see on the tape measure to be able to make it where it's really easy for you to see what's going on here and to so the entire screen is an inch. It's and then you have different size lines. The half inch line's tallest, while the quarter inch and 3/4 inch are the next tallest. Then the 1/8 inch, 3/8 inch, 5/8 inch, and 7/8 inch are the second smallest lines. And then the 1/16, 3/16, 5/16, 7/16, 9/16, 11/16, 13/16, and 15/16 are these the absolute smallest ones. So that's how this is broken out. Some tape measures are different. For instance, the other tape measure I showed you in the initial slide doesn't go into as much detail because for what it's used for, it doesn't need as much detail. When you're building something like stairs, um, a very, very small difference in height can make it where people are more likely to trip. But when you're just measuring the distance from like one point to another, um, a quarter of an inch isn't likely to make that much of a difference when you're talking about 200 feet. But when you're talking about a very small distance, it can make a huge difference. So that's why we have these set up this way. This tape measure works a little differently. As you can see, the tape measure shows a little bit of the 2 inch line, the 2 inch mark, and then the full amount of the 3 inch. That's because the metal piece and the attachment to the tape measure take up almost 2 inches. So this one wouldn't work well for anything less than 2 inches. Um, then from the 2 inch to the 3 inch mark, you can really see what's going on there. As you can see, each inch, the line goes all the way through the tape measure. And then the half inch mark goes about 3/4 of the way across. Then the 1/4 inch and 3/4 inch goes about halfway across. And then the 1/8, 3/8, 5/8, and 7/8 is about a quarter of the way across. So it's a little different than the other one because it doesn't have the 16-inch marks. But for longer distances, you don't need